This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most, so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. All right, let's move on to another SEC team. Actually, we have 4 straight SEC teams right now. Next up at number 7 is the Texas A&M Aggies, coached by Mike Elko in his second year on the job. 11-1 record this year for Texas A&M. They actually, Dalton, they started off 11-0. For the first time since 1992. They reached as high as number 3 in the country, their highest ranking in 30 years. Even with the historic start, though, Texas A&M still failed to qualify for their first ever SEC championship game because they lost the final game of the regular season to Texas. That dropped the Aggies from in the first round bye conversation to having to play in the first round, but hosting a playoff game too. They'll play Miami in the first round of that playoff game. So first round against Miami, if they win that game, they'll host Miami in the first round. If they win that game, they'll play Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl in the quarterfinal. If they win that game, they'll play either Georgia, Ole Miss, or Tulane in the semifinal at the Fiesta Bowl.
Really interesting dynamic here with what the task for Mike Elko is going to be. And one other thing to mention also, their offensive coordinator, Colin Klein, will be taking the Kansas State job, his alma mater, right, with Chris Kleiman retiring
Still
there.
Finishing out his season, though, at Texas A&M.
Yeah, still calling plays for A&M, but this will be the last ride at Texas A&M for him. And I think what Mike Elko's task here is, look, he's gotten this team, and he's really tried to teach them the lesson of playing through all 60 minutes of a game after last year's collapse. Now it's going to be, okay, just like Ohio State, we took our first punch. How are we going to bounce back from this against a really good Miami team, and then possibly further than that? They've got a really good football team. They're a balanced team that can run it. They can throw it with their dynamic receivers. A defense, Elko's a defensive guy. They've had a really good defense all season, especially with Cassius Howell and that pass rush coming at teams all season. But now, to me, it's more about the mental state of this team, right? They got beat up pretty good against Texas, right? It was on the road, tough game. The second half got away from them. How are they going to bounce back? Because they better be able to do it quickly.
Absolutely. So, Dalton, what is the biggest strength? And I know where you're going here because it's a Mike Elko coach team. What's the biggest strength of the Aggies here?
It's just that they have balance. They're just really good at all 3 levels, right? Defensively, Cassius Howell in a really good pass rush, and he's been one of the best pass rushers, the best pass rusher in the SEC, one of the best in the country. A great group of linebackers headlined by the captain, Torian York there. And then Will Lee in this secondary have been really good. Also top 30 in pass rush grade and run defense grade and coverage grade. They're a really good unit, and they're one of the best third down defenses in the country, if not the best third down defense in the country. When they get you in third and long situations, Mike Elko's got exotic zone blitz looks he can go to, and it's a real problem for opposing quarterbacks to handle. So you don't want to be behind the chains against this team, especially with as well as they played this year on third down.
Yeah, they're right now 10th in the country in successful play rate allowed defensively too, below 30%, which is pretty crazy for Texas A&M. Biggest weakness, and you can go into it more, Dalton, in your quarterback breakdown is, all right, can Marcel Reed play clean and consistent football throughout a playoff run? Because he has not had consistent accuracy or decision-making this year. 18 turnover-worthy plays, tied for the 8th most among all Power 4 quarterbacks. Only a 52% accurate pass rate this year. That's 126th among all quarterbacks in the nation. He is capable of brilliant moments, and actually a microcosm, I think, of Marcel Reed is in the first half against South Carolina. He was horrible. He was horrendous, and he dug them in a hole. He dug them out of the hole in the second half, though. He was elite in the second half in what was the biggest comeback win ever for Texas A&M. So can Reed play clean and consistent football against top-notch teams and top-notch defenses in this playoff run? That, to me, is the biggest question mark for Texas A&M right now.
You're right. He can run very hot and cold. There was a South Carolina game, the Notre Dame game that they won earlier in the year. He had 4 turnover-worthy plays in that game, but managed to lead the team down and get the winning throw in that game at Notre Dame for their biggest win of the season. That's the question for Reed. And the other big split that I have on him is the difference between play action with, working off of their great run game with Reuben Owens and Amari Daniels and all the great backs that they have, and obviously then getting the ball to Concepcion and Craver on the outside. Play action, 88.8 passing grade, 14th best in the country, one of the best play action passers in the country. Without play action, 53.3 passing grade. I think the goal for Texas A&M's offense and defense are kind of the same here. Defense, they want to keep teams behind the chains and get on Elko's all his complicated looks. On offense, they do not want Marcel Reed to drop back in 3rd and 9 and throw the football. That's been the biggest problem is non-play action situations, and been much better at beating the blitz than he has a 4-man rush against a standard rush this year, only a 55.9 passing grade. Both of those numbers, non-blitzes and non-play action, he's outside the top 100 in the country in passing grade. This is going to be the big question. Can A&M stay ahead of the chains and keep their play-action game going, and Colin Klein working up the schemes with all of that instead of getting in obvious drop-back situations, because that's really where Reed has struggled this year.
Yeah, I want to shout out his one of his top receivers. I want to say his top receiver because there are actually 2 guys that we could shout out here, and Mario Craver, and the guy I'm going to shout out right now, KC Concepcion, has just been an incredibly versatile player for Texas A&M. In fact, he just won the Paul Hornung Award, given out to the most versatile player in college football. He's also our pick to win the Paul Hornung Award, too. So we absolutely agree with the Hornung Award Committee's decision to give that award to Concepcion. He leads the SEC this year with an 83.2 receiving grade, and he's 4th in the SEC with 886 receiving yards. He also has an 86 return grade, which is 2nd in the Power 4, and he's one of only 5 players in college football with multiple punt return touchdowns this year. He's a projected top 40 pick in the draft, maybe a first-round pick in the draft. Also has a rushing touchdown for Texas A&M. He transferred in from NC State, was very versatile there. In fact, in his true freshman season at NC State, he led the Wolfpack in receiving yards and rushing yards, too. So Concepcion is a very versatile player. Get the ball in this guy's hands, whether it be as a running back, whether it be as a wide receiver, or as a returner too. He's a very dangerous player with the football in his hands.
At all times, you need to know where he is, and I think for Miami, especially in this first game, you are going to need to have a plan on your punt team. When I would consider just not punting to him at all. Or, you better have some sort of plan, because he can flip games upside down with his ability on special teams. He can flip games upside down at any point, vertically, after the catch, or as a punt returner. You need to know where he is at all times.
Who is the star defensive player for Texas A&M this year?
Well, there's several of them. There really have been, but we're going to go back to the leader, the heart and soul at linebacker, Torian York, man. I mean, he's just been so good ever since he stepped on the field there. 3 years of outstanding football. He's the 6th most valuable linebacker in college football, according to PFF's wins above average metric. Sound tackler, great run stopper, even better in coverage this year than ever. 86.4 coverage grade, leads all SEC linebackers, and 39 total stops. Torian York is the leader, the heart and soul of this defense. He's got a great defensive line working in front of him, but you talk about vision and recognition in the run game, he's got it. You talk about improvement in the passing game and coverage, he's absolutely got it. And again, one of the best tacklers in the country. You couldn't ask for much more out of your middle linebacker than Torian York gives Texas A&M and this Mike Elko-led defense on a weekly basis.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal since his true freshman year at A&M, honestly. He's been equally as good this year, too. He's been so good in the middle of Texas A&M's defense. Cassius Howell, another guy to know, too, of course, could be a first-round pick in the draft, but we wanted to shout out Torian York, who's really, like Dalton said, the heart and soul of that A&M defense. Dalton, what is the bottom line for Texas A&M? They started off 11-0. They lost to Texas. What do you think this A&M team is capable of, and what do you expect out of them in the playoff?
They are capable, as we saw in their first 11 games and going back to the Notre Dame win and getting through their SEC schedule. They're capable of beating anybody as long as their quarterback plays clean football. You got 2 outstanding receivers that are as good as any pair in the country. Got a good run game. You got a big offensive line that can play really physical football, and then we mentioned it, a 3-level defense. If their quarterback plays clean football, They're capable of beating anybody.
Yep.
And if he's turning the ball over, they could lose in the first round. You kind of have, I think there's a similar element here, maybe even to a more dangerous extent to what we talked about earlier with Texas Tech. They have all the tools. The quarterback's the variable to me. And how will they respond, especially what a matchup we have with them against Miami. We'll get to Miami in a bit. What a matchup we have. But if and when they get into obvious passing situations, how will Marcel Reed respond? That will ultimately determine their fate and how far they go.
That's my exact bottom line, too. Listen, they have the defense. They have the offensive line. They have the running backs. They have their wide receivers. They have everything needed to make a deep and maybe win it all and win their first national title since 1939. The question is, can Marcel Reed play 4 straight games of not elite football, just consistent football? Can you be consistently good for 4 straight games? That's the biggest question, and that I think will determine whether or not A&M makes a deep playoff run or they could lose in the first round to Miami too. That's the biggest question mark for A&M right now. Again, Marcel Reed, very talented quarterback. I'm not trying to sit here and say he's a bad quarterback. Very talented. He's capable of having brilliant moments and brilliant games. The question is, can you play consistently at that level for 4 straight games against some really, really good teams and defenses? That'll determine how far the Aggies go in the college football playoff this year.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth. And the truth is, most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok gurus sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff. Because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter, by game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.